let us over trap beats. The Fixx is saying, ooh. DJ Focus, tell him turn you up. Ooh. DJ Focus, tell him turn you up. Ooh.
Welcome back. DJ Focus, Dice Gamble. You tap back into the Fixx, your source of faith-infused hip-hop, R&B, and poetry. It's time for our spiritual detox, and come on, y'all. Y'all know how we do it. We like to have some movers and shakers. Listen, some pioneers. I'm gonna give her that. She is a pioneer. She's been in this space for a while. You know, our small little space. If you've been doing anything in our small little subgenre of Christian hip-hop, gospel rap over 10 years, you a pioneer, and especially when you talk about consistency in our area. So, listen, I've been following her for a while. She's been putting out music. She's a writer. She's a poet. She's an activist. She does a little bit of everything. And one thing I like about her, she do not hold back her voice. You ain't gonna mute her. You ain't gonna shut her up. She gonna say what she's saying. She gonna stay on business. You don't like it? That's between you and God. The super talented ShySpeaks joins us. What's going on, sis?
Man, what an intro. What's up? I'm now with that intro like that, I'm ready. Let's get this conversation popping. You done already gave them a forewarning that I talk my talk. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So if they haven't been following you yet, they will start following you now, because yes, that's one thing you've done over the years. It doesn't matter whether it's been something in faith, some in politics, some in community. I like people that are well-rounded. Absolutely. We believers first, but yeah, be a part of your community. Be a part of the change. Everybody talk it, but who doing the change part? Because the change part is work. So yeah, let's talk about it. So first, share a little bit of your journey with the people, maybe a little bit of your faith journey, and kind of how that shaped who you are.
Right. All right. So that's a really good question as far as my faith journey is considered. Because I was always like all those things you said. I'm a writer, a singer, a poet, a lyricist. All those things, you already have all those gifts, whether or not you're saved anyway. That's just very few people say I came to know God and then God revealed my gift to me. You pretty much already knew it. It's just about what side of your heart is coming out of, right? And so I've been I started in music and understanding my voice when I was like 6 years old, right? I knew I was in oratorical contest. I would recite Maya Angelou. I could recite movies. I could just remember the entire monologue. And then I started finding my own voice through therapeutic writing. And then I started performing. And then, so there's that side. And I was already doing that without whether or not it didn't have anything to do with my faith, so to speak. I was just saying whatever I wanted to say about the things that I wanted to say about it, or reciting whatever I wanted to recite, right? So fast forward through my younger years, growing up in a musical family, right? My grandfather was a pastor. My family, all of them sing or play an instrument or multiple ones, right? So it's not any kind of weird thing if you come by my grandmother's house and you just strike up a song and then somebody else can start playing and somebody play bass and somebody can play it's just like that, right? So growing up in that kind of family, you also find your talent and your gifting in that regard. But also growing up in that type of family, you are exposed to church, you're exposed to God, especially, at least I was, but I knew that I wasn't like, I believed in God, but I wasn't what me and my friends call saved. You got to be saved. You can't just, I was saved, but you wasn't saved. I mean, you haven't, until you get your second saved. No, I'm kidding. It's not a second saved. People out here going to be like, she theologically off. No, it's a joke. But you know what I mean when I say saved, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I was doing all of my gifting and talent and all that kind of stuff up through junior high, elementary, junior high, high school. But when I was 18, right, in my senior year, I was like, I had this experience with God. It was a crazy, crazy experience. I'm going to tell my testimony at some other point in time, but for the sake of brevity, I had this experience with God, and I knew God was serious with me, and he was trying to show me something. He was teaching me something, and I was like, okay, cool. Still didn't respond to the experience. And then I started realizing life is about to get serious. I'm about to be grown. And I was like, I really need to dedicate my life or rededicate my life to Christ. I dedicated my life to Christ. And so when you dedicate your life to Christ, all your gifts and all that is included with your life, and boom, there you go. You started you start speaking from the abundance of your heart, right? And so then that's when I started being exposed to what people would call the Christian hip hop space or faith-based spoken word and all that kind of stuff. But because I had already been doing a great deal of artistry aside from my faith, I never lost my ability to speak into matters of faith and speak into matters of culture. And that's how I became what you described earlier.
No, that's good, and I thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
But what was that point that you really just said, you know what, I got to do it for God? Because I hear what you're saying. You rededicate your life to God, but some would argue just because you rededicate your life and you know, start to live a life that you try to be somewhat pleasing to God, that doesn't mean you have to do it on the gospel side. You could, if you have a gift, you can still use that gift on the mainstream side. What was that breaker for you? Was like, no, I have to do it for God now and stop doing it for the mainstream or secular, whatever you want to call it.
Right. And I think that's the caveat for me. I never feel like I stopped doing it for mainstream or non-Christian spaces. It's just that whatever space I go in, I'm going to be a Christian when I get there. Right.
Gotcha.
So like I've had the opportunity of opening for like Jeezy and Bun B and Ludacris, and at the same time being announced that I'm on Kirk Franklin's album and putting out on my own projects. And so everywhere I go, it's gonna come out of my biblical perspective. Everywhere if I'm one. So that's the issue. When
That's
people
good.
say that they're gonna be a Christian, I started
Mhm.
doing it for God. Then they stopped. I'm just not gonna cuss on this side. I just don't cuss anyway. So it's just like whatever topic I'm talking about. So right now, if you say, "Hey, let's make a song about some of the things that are happening in culture, some of the things that are happening in politics," I can make that same song. It can be applicable on any stage that may not be a faith-based stage, but I'm still gonna talk my talk. It's still gonna be faith infused. I'm not going to compromise and start using what we'll consider perverse or like I'm not going to be any of that. So I never had to like do this thing where it's like, okay, I'm going to make my art this way. I made me I started working on being a disciple for the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I remember being invited to like my first like paid performance was at like in a spoken word type of space, at ShySpeaks, that is. And outside of me being a speaker, I was there as a spoken word artist, and so it was a love night, Valentine's Day thing, and I had a poem about love and all that kind of stuff. Then I had another poem that talked about the love of God, and romantic love. I talked about when I say all of that. I had a romantic love poem, and then I feel like to really truly talk about love will be a disservice of not talking about God. Like, how can you not talk about? And so I actually had a poem about that as well. And so right from the beginning, I always make sure, and even when I talk about love, it's not gonna be something that is. If you hear me talk about love, it's not gonna be something that's like, oh, I'm not doing this for God. I don't know how. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Right.
I know it's kind of hard for people to understand that because it can, for some people that can sound like you're lukewarm, but no, it's just whatever I'm talking about, I bring me to the table. So if we're talking about romantic love, I'm going to be talking about romantic love, but I'm not going to be talking about it in a way that somebody who has a perverse mindset thinks. Why? Because out of the abundance of my heart am I speaking. I'm speaking on this topic from a biblical perspective, from a faith-based worldview, from a conscious, intellectual, spiritually, you know what I'm saying? All of that. So I'm talking about the same topic from that space. And so at some point, to answer your question, I knew that whatever I had to do had to be that way because I knew I was called and I knew I was serious about God. I knew I had to walk this way. And there was times where I would get offered to go in what you would consider the secular world, right? Like one of my friends was down with like Slim Thug at one point in time. He wouldn't be somebody you consider a Christian rapper, right? So he's definitely what you would consider mainstream or secular or whatever. And she was like, man, she let sign me up to be at this club to come hang out with them. And I was a shoe in, and it's just something about it was like, you ain't supposed to do that. You ain't supposed to do it like that. Because if you do it that way, they're going to try to remix you and remake you and make you something else. And you don't want to be something else. You want to be able to be what I'm not saying for real Slim Thug at the time was going to do it. For sure was going to do that. But that's what I thought. There was another time I was working with a producer, and this producer was down with 3-6 Mafia. And he had all but lined everything up with me with 3-6. He let them hear some of the tracks me and him was working on. And something about me couldn't do it like that because I knew eventually I might have to shape shift or conform, or they may want me to do some things. And at that time I was younger. And when you're younger, you just automatically more malleable. And
Yeah,
I
that's
knew
real.
that with me being more malleable, not really rooted, didn't have a whole lot of substance of the word within me, that I might get drifted off. And so it's almost to say that as I was thwarting off those opportunities and working on being a solid believer, the decision was already made that wherever I go, I need to show up, and I'm one person, no matter what platform, what stage I'm on.
Listen, I'm gonna salute you because let's be very clear. A lot of young ladies or young men your age would have not passed on that opportunity. You just said, listen, you just said Mafia, 3-6 Mafia. You just said Slim Thug, Bun B. You done went down the list of yes, greats, whether you receive it or not in hip hop, and who never knows what that opportunity could have been if you would
Right.
have went that way. So I'm gonna salute you because you stood on God business, and
I,
that's the
I
spirit of God
think,
that told you not to go. And I get it. I get it. Listen. So before we move past that, have you had opportunities to have any conversations with any of the artists that maybe in your neighborhood or still connected to mainstream and just talk faith? I've talked with Bun B before, and I know he's very much a believer. I know
yeah,
he's done some music with a couple of our Christian hip hop artists like
yeah,
Bizzle and you can name it, and even Slim Thug used an insert from Joel Osteen in a song before too as well. So have
right.
you had conversations with any of them to just talk faith and see where they really are?
Right. No, and the crazy part is I probably at the time should have given it a whirl. Now with Bun B, he and I were both speaking at an event as well. I performed and spoke, and he came in and spoke. So we had a little opportunity to talk, and he was like, I like what you're doing. I like how you stand for God. I like, and most of the time, so I never talked to Slim, and I didn't meet Pharrell that night. Because at that time, remember, Slim and Pharrell was kind of in
Yeah.
cahoots. This is a while back, right? You had to
Oh
kind
yeah.
of think myself a little bit. I ain't as young as I look, right? But Bun B, I had a chance to talk, and he was just so much commending who I was as a person, what I stood for, what my music was about. From what he could tell, he gave me advice on like standing. You know what I'm saying? Like it was more so like not like, hey, let's go this way. It was like, keep doing what you're doing. That's hot. Like I'm trying to figure out a way to express my faith more. That's why I'm here at events like this, so I can speak and show up in spaces that's not like, so
Yeah.
that was confirmation to me. I actually met Lil Wayne's manager, and
Okay.
well, he's not his manager now. At some point in his career, this guy was one of Wayne's managers, one of the managers on Cash Money Records, and he was just like, he decided, he was like, you got it. He was like, let me tell you who I feel like your peers are. Your peers are Rap City, B.O.B., Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. That's from what I see. It ain't a talent issue. It's the lane that you have chosen to be in. And he was like, I think that's doper. He said, because you'll have the ability to stay longer than the people who were like, we're all like, he's like, we're all adults. We're gonna get older. You can only be sex appeal, but for so long. And this is coming from somebody who used to be on the label. So that could be a whole bunch of people. I won't reveal who it is. Maybe I'll talk to him about it. Should I start telling people who you are in these interviews? Right. This is my first time actually saying this, so this is DDD exclusive on the Fixx, right? But anyway, with him, he just basically told me like, I think he was like, when you think about it like this, he said, now I had the opportunity to be on the label with a Nicki Minaj, for example. He was like, but there's going to come a point where that image, you know what I'm saying, and that appeal won't appeal. You know what I mean? It's just kind of going to lose its appeal over time, or might lose its appeal because it just is what it is. He was like, but what you're doing never loses its appeal. He was like, this is why Lauryn Hill can go on and on and on forever, because she's always adult, she's always grown, and she's always relevant. And so everybody he was naming, he was like, when it comes to Rap City doesn't get the fanfare and the accolades that a Meg Thee Stallion or Nicki Minaj gets, but she's probably going to have a longer staying power, and she's going to mean more to the culture. And he said, and I think like you're going to mean more, and it's just about figuring out how he was like, it's just about figuring out how rich you want to be. If you wanted to be even richer, you could have switched that. But you can be rich and impactful and more of a jewel to the culture with who you are. So for me, I got more encouragement from mainstream or secular to stay as I am than I did for them trying to shift me the other way. Now I have had some shift me the other way situations with producers, but most key personnel, artists, industry, leaders, they always say, stay who you are, figure out how to make that work.
That's good. Listen, DJ Focus, don't touch that dial. We got to go to a quick break. We coming right back with more from ShySpeaks. You tuned into The Fixx. You know The Fixx is in.
Holy Culture Radio. We're not just background noise. We play the music that inspires you because every song has a story. Christian hip hop and R&B music and talk on Siriusxm channel 154, 24 hours a day. Holy Culture Radio is changing the game. Discussions about faith, arts, vocation, and education. We talk about the real issues that affect our communities and work together to find solutions. Join the discussion at holyculture.net and be heard.
Tap back into The Fixx, your source of faith-infused hip-hop, R&B, and poetry. We still got ShySpeak on, and she talking that talk. So come on, let's get into this. The culture. Let's talk about we celebrated last year. 50 years of hip-hop. Where do you think the state of the hip-hop culture is? 50 years, 51 years now, if you want to be technical. Us having a play in it too as well, not just mainstream, but Christian hip hop has been around and been a part of that hip hop culture. What do you think the state of hip hop culture is right now to this day? And you can start with, just Christian hip hop and then work into mainstream.
Wow. Yeah, that was pretty cool. 50 years. And it was kind of like, that's a long time, but at the same time, like, that's not that long either. As far as things being around, in the context of 400 years and 500 years. So shout out to hip hop, especially Christian hip hop. I think the state of it, I feel like it is in a state where the audience is starting to realize that it is evolving. It's constantly evolving. And that is like, cause that's just hip hop. Hip hop has constantly been evolving. If you go from like even from like how Run DMC sound to like how Migos sound, it's like a whole thing in between how they even got there, right? There's the whole like what you call what's it, auto tune and all this kind of stuff. So it's like it's a culture that's always constantly changing. And so the thing about Christian hip hop, I feel like the audience wants it to at a time wanted it to stay the same. Like it's like but it's like that's just not how hip hop culture is, and that's not how urban culture is, because hip hop culture is a part of urban culture, and so it's multi a multi-layered influence coming from several different ways, and like yeah, I think it's just evolving, and I think that like in the past, like let's say go back 5 years, there was like this surge of what you would see mainstream artists rapping about faith-based themes, and you start seeing faith-based artists trying to be more mainstream, right? So it's kind of like so that's all part of the evolution. I think that the only reason why some of the faith-based artists, well, I mean, mainstream artists were so easy to be vocal about their faith is because they were tuning in and knowing what was going on in CHH, and they were inspired. Like, man, I like what they're doing. They ain't scared to talk about this out loud and be public about it. Like Chance the Rapper, you know what I'm saying, when he came out with his whole thing like that. I think Christian hip hop influenced that. I also see, so that's just influencing the main genre, you know what I'm saying, like from a subgenre perspective. And then also I think that it's evolving in a sense of people realizing, like with like Lecrae and Andy Mineo getting such fanfare with their placement of coming in hot, 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 right? That song right there. And most people don't even know that that's necessarily, they don't know who the artists are actually. They just know they like the song, which means it's just a good song, right? And it didn't mean that they didn't kind of make their boast in their faith a little bit throughout the song, but people just liked it. And so placements we saw from Christian hip hop artists were like in the faith-based world. We saw like Bubba Watson at one time. Any of the Christian artists like Steph, anybody we know that's a very out and loud, proud athlete would kind of attach themselves to the Christian hip hop artists, and that kind of helped spread the message around, because those athletes are world renowned. So then you start realizing, okay, it's not just sports anthems that they're doing. These are just good songs. Like these are good theme songs that can be applied anywhere. And so we start to see this surgence of all these Christian hip hop artists getting placements on all these movies and TV shows and films. And that's an evolution, which means that, you know what I'm saying? Like that the content has changed. And so I think that's where we are. I think I think the audience is finally starting to accept you can't make these people be stick to some kind of topic that they don't want to stick to. They can make whatever they want to make, and because they're making that kind of stuff, it gives them more of a platform in a non-faith based world. That's my thoughts.
No, that's good. Thanks for sharing that. So I guess on the flip side, what's your response, or what's your thoughts on the other side of some of the music that is put out from the mainstream artists that at times, is blasphemous? I can say, Doja Cat has made songs, Lil Nas X has made songs, even Beyonce, Church Girl song, I wouldn't say it's blasphemous, but it had a lot of stuff in it that didn't really leave room to say, okay, we pointing you back to the cross. What's your thoughts when songs like that come out? And if you do, you even have an opinion. I know D1 has been very vocal, and some other artists have been very vocal about, mainstream artists not playing with our faith. Do you have thoughts or opinions on that?
I think, yeah, if they're playing like playing and making mockery and making it a campaign, like I kind of feel like the Lil Nas X campaign was like a campaign. But I think that if people was really just trying to express their faith at where they were at the time, it's really no different than what we used to see years ago when there were CDs and they would have a whole album, especially an R&B artist, had the whole album, and at the end they would have one gospel song, right? Because they would just make the song about gospel. But now they would be more careful to make sure it's more biblically centered. It's not like no mockery. It's not like this is my worldly side. This was like, this is my faith-based side. This is my last song on the album. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Right. So mainstream artists have been making songs that just wouldn't be their lead single or anything like that, but it would just be them sharing their faith through music, right? And so I don't think that that's like, it just is what it is. People feel like they have a faith. Now, how far along they are in the faith, if they lukewarm, if they watery, if they, you know what I'm saying, wherever they are, they may not be solid and sound in their theology, or somebody who is in the best position to lead you spiritually, right? They may or may not, but I don't think we can say that they're not making a genuine attempt to just kind of express their spirituality. I think that we just have to do our due diligence as the body of Christ, making sure we remind people that at the end of the day, that's not who you should take your spiritual cues from. They're just expressing themselves at wherever level they are. And that level is not the Christ level. And this is where Christ says we should be. This is how Christ says we should view this particular topic. This is where Christ. So I just think the church has to do its job of getting in the culture, which is why I like getting in the culture. Is why I like being out there and talking to people, because they'll ask me, "What do you think about this song?" Well, that's our opinion. It's not the standard. Here's what God says about it. Right? Here's what the word says about it. This is what Christ spoke to that situation. And you know what I'm saying? So like,
yes.
if enough of us are making sure that as they give their own little spiritual commentary, we're letting them know that that's not really necessarily the way. That's just their thought. It's not something to follow. It's not the model. It's not the plumb line, and it's not the way. So that's my thought about it. I think we just do our due diligence and do our part of being in the culture.
Yeah, we do need to be in the streets more. We do need to be a part of the community more. So I salute you for that, because I'm big on that too as well, making sure I have a presence not only on the radio, but people know me in my neighborhood and at my local church. Like, I serve and everything else. So I'm with you on that. And it's funny you brought. Listen, you ain't got to date yourself. We're in the same age range. You took me back down memory lane when you talked about that one inspirational song on different artists' track, and a lot of that was inspired from BB and CC Winans, because they were so bold back then, and a lot of their music was on the regular FM dials. So it made it cool for R&B artists and rappers to do a positive song like that. So I do remember that. That's funny.
Right.
I go back to the tape days. Shouts out to y'all who knows about tapes. It's a whole situation.
But this is good that you bring that up, because sometimes I don't think we don't do a good job of speaking about how the church and how Christian artists are making influence in the mainstream. Like BB and CC was influencing how other people made music.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that with all we seen with that Rick Ross, Hallelujah, and all the chant stuff, and all the other rappers with all their spirituality, I can't help but think that because these Christian hip hop albums are selling so much and they're making such a wave, they're tuning in, they're listening to it, and they're like, maybe I should be a little bit more vocal about the faith that I say I have. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel like we should give CHH, Christian artists, Christian singers, their props for the influence that they do have, and not always saying they always trying to sound like, and they always trying to, maybe, but we be doing some good stuff too.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So come on, let's talk about your creative process. Walk us through you making a track. Are you one to have to write your lyrics first? Are you singing the hook first? Do you got to hear a beat? Walk us through your creative process.
Man, I am one of those people that I don't just do music because I want to say something. Like I want to I have something to say. You know what I'm saying? Like not like okay, I'm sorry, I said it backwards. I'm not a person that's just like, oh, I got something to say. I got something to say. It's no, I want to say something. Here's what I want to address here. Here's what I want to talk about here. Here's a theme that I want to put out in the ethos. Here's a theme that I want to put out in the culture in the world. Right. So mostly what I want to talk about once I have an idea of once I have a concept of the idea or the thing that I want to express, then easily words start coming to me because I guess I'm more of a writer and a lyricist, so to speak, in that regard than like I need the music first. But sometimes I hear a beat and I'm like, ooh, I hear some music and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel that I would want to say on this, the music spoke to me and made me want to say something. Or, I felt like a message coupled with this particular sound could communicate this thing to people. So I would say I do both but if I had to say which one I do most, it's mostly when I have something to say. I have a idea that I want to express.
Why is that so important for you? Because I'm glad you brought that up. Shouts out to everybody listening right now. You're getting a hip hop lesson. That's what hip hop was made for. Hip hop was made to really voice things that were happening in our community, things that we needed to talk about. So why is that so important to you that you always have to have a message to inspire you to even make music, or you don't even want to do it?
Because like at the end of the day, people say that it's the music and it's the vibe that caught me. But at the end of the day, whatever vibe it is that caught them, they know them words.
Facts.
Whether you learn them on accident or on purpose, those words, the words. You don't just know the beat. You just, I want to take my horse to the, whether you like that song or not, you just know you're going to wind up knowing the lyrics. And the lyrics is what actually sits in your, ooh, you gonna go? I'm gonna go deep. I felt myself going in. Hold on, right quick. It's important for me to make sure that the words mean something and I'm saying something because I'm actually trying to make a deposit of a thought. I'm trying to either provoke thought. I'm trying to expose you to Christian ideology or thinking. I'm trying to implement a solution or make a suggestion of a solution. And once you say those words, because you like the vibe of the music or whatever, but once the words get in you, the words are going to be able to bear fruit within you, is what I believe. And I know it to be true, even if you look at people, whether all the music they listen to, certain ones that listen to all that shoot 'em up, bang, bang, slang, slang, they kind of live a little shoot 'em up, bang, bang, slang, slang life because the words are getting in them. And so if I want to make sure I'm leaving people with words that's going to actually bear fruit once they listen to it. And they may have thought it was catchy at first, but then after that, they started having something in them that made them, I think that's important. I think the Bible says this. It says meditate on my word day and night, right? So we see meditate. When we say meditate, it's not just looking at it and reading it. It's also reading it over and saying something over and over and over again. That's also a form of meditation. And so if you're going to be meditating on my stuff, I want to make sure you're meditating on something that is a good seed, and that if it actually is watered in some kind of way, it'll produce positive results in you or in the community or whatever group of people I'm writing for.
That's good. So what you working on? I know you got something, up your sleeve for this year. Can we expect a new single, new EP, mixtape, album, collaborations? What you got cooking over there?
I have this secret, single that I want to do. It's like it will be like this ideal thing to happen. And so we're working on it. I'm not going to talk about it because a lot has to come into play for that song to happen. Sometimes people think it's just like, you go to the studio, you make it. No, but some timing, production, it's just a lot of things that have to happen to pull it off. And if it could pull off, it will be like my favorite thing that I was able to produce this year. So I'm not going to talk about it yet.
Okay.
But the other thing that I'm working on is another round of Free Lunch Fridays. Free Lunch Fridays is a series that I do where I offer free game on industry beats, and you shaking your head.
No, because the people don't know. I know about what it is, so I'm excited for it. So I'm just shaking my head like, okay, you're going here again. Let's go.
Here we go. So Free Lunch Fridays, I try to release these on a regular basis, but it's just basically kind of like good eats, good beats, and whatever topic or theme it is I'm trying to talk about, right? So for me, I yeah, like when I say good eats, I try to make sure when I sit down on Friday, I buy some food that's healthy cuisine because I'm trying to subtly promote you to have healthy cuisines. And I'm also trying to share some type of healthy thoughts. So I'm just rapping. I'm just going for broke on these beats. I'm doing all my wordplay. I'm having as much fun as possible. And I'm just, like eating, right? It's what Free Lunch Friday is. You'd have to check it out. So I want to do another run of Free Lunch Fridays. And then the bigger project that I'm working on is a project called Civilized. Yeah, I've been working at this project or chipping away at the concept for this project for a while. Civilized was an album in my mind at first, but it became an event, and then the event became a festival, and then the festival became a bigger festival. And so I've been, so we have Civilized Fest. That's a festival that I curate, and it's all about where civics and culture collide, right? And so I got so busy working on this festival and all the logistics and all the rigmarole that go into that I haven't really gotten the music done. But there is a project called Civilized that's brewing in me, and y'all will get it soon.
Will we ever see a project with you and Adrian?
Oh, that's a good. Let me call him right now.
Yeah. Because y'all been playing too long. I just, the people want it. And it'd be solid. Y'all need to just do a little soft little EP or something now and just stop playing with our nerves now.
Look, we talk about it. We talk about it, especially we have had like ideas for songs that we did not wind up doing, and we was like, man, that'd be crazy. That would be dope. And then when we finally did a record, Adrian Butler and I, like just the energy and how like all the streams that we were able to kind of get off of that song, people run it during a like workout playlist, and it's just like our creativity. We've had opportunities to work together in the live setting a lot, like where we're in shows, doing shows together. We've been in plays and productions. I would call them like, hey, you want to do this with me? So I think we have a really great give and go. And a lot of times people don't realize that Adrian Butler is so skilled. He's so creative. He can even like do certain things graphically. He's a amazing graphic artist. He's just a dope person. I'll be like, hey, I got this song. You got a design idea? You know what I'm saying? Or here's the idea I have. So we just work together great. We talked about doing a project, but he got to be about that life. I think we should do it. I definitely think we should do it, even if it's just like five songs.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to put a call out because I'm praying for that to happen. And I know the people want to hear that.
Dude, so people they'll come up to me and be like, oh man, we like that song, y'all gonna drop another one. It's like, if we drop another song, and me and Adrian talked about, like, we drop another song, is that just gonna be teasing the people? Should we just go ahead and do the thing? If you're listening to this interview right now, hit me up, hit my DM, hit Adrian's, let us know if y'all really want that. We might have to do
that. Well, Fixx family, you already know, tear them DMs up. You already know how we get down. So, before we get you out of here, I got to ask you, because, you a super talented artist. So if you could pick 3 artists from any genre of music, dead or alive, to form a super group, what 3 artists you sitting with?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Dead or alive?
Yeah. I'm going to throw if you want to pick a producer too as well. So it don't matter. Three people, either artist or producer from any genre of music, dead or alive. And this is your group. So they joining you. So who you got to your right, your left, or the back of you? Who you got?
Golly. I need at least a producer, right? I'm gonna go with Missy Elliott.
I knew you was gonna say that. I was sitting over here like I knew you was gonna say that. Yeah.
Missy Elliott, most people know her for all the things that she do in the mainstream world, but she does a lot of production as well in the faith-based sector as well, because she is a believer and she loves like gospel music. She loves all the gospel music. She probably listens to more gospel than you, right?
I'm with you. Yeah.
So I think she would be great with being able to like either do it herself or put together a team of people that could like create this super duper dope soundscape. And then I got 2 more people, right?
2 more. Who you got?
See over the production team. I need somebody that's singing, and my favorite singer is India Ari, but I don't know if I would want her to be the set singer. Let me see. Do I want her to be the? I like her songwriting. I like how she's able to take spiritual things and make them commercially viable. So, and she makes it like universal or something like that. It's just kind of like she has this way. So maybe I don't know though. This is hard. I need to think about this. I kind of want my boy Molly music because he can write for days too.
And produce.
Molly can write and produce,
Yeah.
and me and we've seen each other a couple times. Like we go. You know, that would be kind of crazy.
Who your rapper? Come on, give me a rapper.
Ooh. If I give you a CHH rapper?
No, listen, dead or alive, any genre. This show squad. Yeah, whoever you want.
Nah, yeah, you know who I would resurrect from rapping? I don't know if he rap anymore. I haven't seen him. He was a guy. He was a dog. I just to be on this group though. I grew up liking if you people want to know, I grew up liking Eminem when I was younger, and then when I got saved, I started listening to like I didn't really listen to any secular music, or if it wasn't godly, I wouldn't tune into it, right? And so I started liking The Truth, and I started liking AKA Emmanuel.
Right.
I started liking, but I like this guy named Jim
Oh,
Stones.
come on. Stones is cold. Come on now.
Stones.
AKA Gemini. For those who know, he started off with Kanye West. His name was Gemini, and changed his life around to Jim Stones. Yeah, Stones about to come back. So hopefully you hop on a feature of some of them. Yeah, Stones been hitting. He doing music again. Yeah. Everybody loves Jim Stones.
He was down with Lupe at a point.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
This one line in this mixtape he put out, he said, "Fell off. I wasn't ready to feast. I walked away from the table, let Dreezy sit in the seat. Knock it off with the fables before I put you to sleep." Jim Stones. So like, listen, he be going from, he can rap to me. So if you want somebody that's gonna get busy with the raps, I think him. I don't know though. I got to think about my dream team. If I just had to put together like I need to think about that. But you kind of got a gist of who I like, the vibe.
No,
so
that's
far.
solid. Last question, getting you out of here. The show is called The Fixx for a reason. So if you could change anything about the culture, the music industry, Christian hip hop, gospel industry, what would you fix? What would you change?
I would fix the way those who are in positions of power, as it relates to like labels or people who have even financial power, media companies, whatever. I would fix their lens on getting behind Christian hip hop female artists. I'm not just saying that because I'm a female artist. I'm saying that because I actually have a business acumen, right? When we look into hip hop, and we talked about the celebration of hip hop, women have always been associated with the movement. Rough Riders had Eve. I could go on and on. The Trick Daddy and that whole Florida crew, they had Trina. There's always a woman that's associated with the crew, and that has not been the case for Christian hip hop. So that's part of the reason why people who are gatekeepers or those who are in a position of power don't know who the females are, because they don't have, most of these cliques don't have a woman that they run with. If I go through Cross Movement or Reach or whoever, like they weren't associated with, like, there's a few Christian female rapper that we rock with. I say that because there's this, when the enemy comes in like a flood, we should be able to raise up a standard against it, right? Well, God raises up a standard, but for them, in the what we would call like in the secular space, in the non-faith-based sector, their mission is money, and they realize that women are viable products as far as like artists and stuff like that, and they push it. And oftentimes they're not pushing things that are great for our young girls. But if you put that same energy behind someone who actually is a great role model, who is a godly example, I think we would actually see a shift and a swing. I don't think that I think that people know of a few female Christian artists now because they popping on TikTok or something like that. And I'm not talking about them, that's self-promotion. I'm talking about putting that same energy, but that or more behind a Christian female artist because we want to make impact. For the other side, they're trying to make income, but you want to make impact. I believe that you would make income and impact. I think you'd make way more income than you ever think because women are a great market and there's so many things that can come with it. Like if I come out as an artist, just because I am me, I wear lipstick all the time. I have a lipstick line. These are things that are not available for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so many things that come with it. If you put that type of energy behind raising up voices so that our young girls have somebody to look up to and have somebody to model instead of just saying, well, stay away from that. Don't just say stay away from that. Invest in the solutions. And I have not seen it done to this date yet to the level that we give the platform to the guys. I would say change that. And I think our impact kingdom wise will be different and their income would shoot up. Thank you.
I agree. No, I agree. Shy, I got to get you back on because I had so much other stuff I would love to talk to you about. We got to go. Tell the people how they connect with you, follow you on all your social media platforms, and if you want, introduce one of your singles.
All right, so cool. Let me say this. I'm down for the part 2, so we can get the part 2 popping sometime in the near future. But how people can connect with me, I always say the best place to connect with me is my website, ShySpeaks.com. From there, you can join the team. I got Team ShySpeaks. All you gotta do is drop me your name and your email, and you'll be in the squad, or you'll be on the squad. I'll keep you up to date with all the things that we have going on. Plus, it's a whole bunch of perks like music and singles and stuff that I've not released to the public. People who are part of my community get that. And also you can just kind of peruse around and find out what Free Lunch Fridays is and look at all the other things. And then also you can find where my social media links are from there. And I would say I'm probably most active on Facebook and Instagram, and they're both at ShySpeaks. So ShySpeaks.com, join Team ShySpeaks. And then of course, get at me on social media at ShySpeaks.
What we playing for the people? What you want to play?
Ooh, play Wings. Yeah, I got the wings. It's the wings. I got the wings. Yeah.
Keep it locked. You tune into the Fixx.